Remember when Democrats actually used to care about Americans? They've always pandered to poor people in non-white communities, promising to take tax dollars from white people and give it to them, trying to buy their votes. But when so many historically Democrat voters joined the Trump train in 2016, seeing how Trump's policies would benefit every American and bring jobs back here and cut the government bureaucracy and derail the government gravy train so many politicians have been riding on for decades, Democrat politicians needed a new voter base. They used to be against illegal immigration because allowing an unlimited number of foreigners into our country results in them taking manual labor jobs and service jobs away from Americans. But all that changed back in 2016 because Democrats are no longer the party for the working class or even the lower income Americans. They're the party of no income Americans, those who don't want to work, those who want to live off the fruits of others' labor, our tax dollars. And they're the party of non-Americans. They are now focused exclusively on their new voter base, the 30+ million illegal aliens who have invaded our country over the last several decades, and their anchor baby children who are granted U.S. citizenship just by being born here, despite their parents being criminal trespassers. And then these anchor babies are raised in homes speaking a foreign language and never assimilate into our culture, despite technically being American citizens. Democrats have been plotting to give the 30+ million illegal aliens a pathway to citizenship, which means full citizenship, within a few years of being granted amnesty and not even having to pay a fine for the countless costs that they have forced Americans to incur by sucking off of our tax dollars in countless different ways. Democrats blocked $5 billion in funding that President Trump wanted to complete the border wall when he was in office the first time, but gave Ukraine over $200 billion to defend their border. But Democrats will do anything that they can so we don't have a wall on our border with Mexico. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez compares our southern border wall to the Berlin Wall.
No matter how you feel about the wall, I think it's a moral abomination. I think it's like the Berlin Wall.
Senator Elizabeth Warren calls it a monument to hate and division.
We're not going to build a wall that is a monument to hate and division. That's what that's really about. That's not about border security.
When Beto O'Rourke was running for president in 2020, his platform was to tear down the wall.
If you could, would you take the wall down now? Here.
Yes.
Like you have a wall.
Absolutely.
Knock it down.
I'd take the wall down.
And do you think if there's a referendum here in this city, that would pass?
I do.
Before Democrats embraced opening our border and paying illegal aliens to come and live here and putting them up in fancy hotels across the country, Barack Obama once said this.
We all agree on the need to better secure the border and to punish employers who choose to hire illegal immigrants. We are a generous and welcoming people here in the United States, but those who enter the country illegally and those who employ them disrespect the rule of law. And they are showing disregard for those who are following the law. We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants in this country.
Here's how Hillary Clinton used to sound when Democrats actually cared about Americans.
So I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait in line.
Years later, when campaigning for the 2016 presidential election, she miraculously admitted this.
Hi, Secretary Clinton. I was wondering what you think about securing the Mexican border with some of the illegal immigrants that come in. Just wondering.
Well, look, I voted numerous times when I was a senator to spend money to build a barrier to try to prevent illegal immigrants from coming in. And I do think you have to control your borders.
The wall had become a dirty word since it was a major part of Donald Trump's campaign platform, so she called it a barrier instead. But early in the 2016 presidential race, Democrats weren't yet ready to pivot to their current no-border policy. Senator Chuck Schumer, one of the most powerful Democrat senators in Washington, once said this about the issue.
When we use phrases like undocumented workers, we convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the American people overwhelmingly oppose. If you don't think it's illegal, you're not going to say it. I think it is illegal and wrong, and we have to change it.
All that has changed, though. Democrats now deem the term illegal alien to be on par with the dreaded N-word, and they're doing everything they can to cater to the illegal aliens, even allowing them to vote in some local elections. Go fact check that, you'll see for yourself.
The federal government only allows U.S. citizens to vote in federal elections, and all states only allow citizens to vote in statewide elections. But it's more complicated for local races. Ballotpedia lists 17 municipalities that allow non-citizens to vote. Of those, a Verify analysis found 13 permit some undocumented immigrants to vote in certain local elections, including D.C., San Francisco, Oakland, and 10 municipalities in Maryland. So, yes, undocumented immigrants are allowed to vote in some local elections.
There's something else at play here as well. They want to brown your small town. This is part of their diversity agenda. Diversity being a code word for anti-white, but you're not supposed to talk about that unless you support it. You can mention it if you do so with enthusiastic support. And while every non-white ethnic group can openly work towards increasing their numbers and becoming a majority group and gaining political power, if you're white and you even hint that you may want to keep your numbers up and maintain the ethnic makeup that America was founded on, or maintain your white European ethnicity for your children and grandchildren, then of course you're going to be called a white supremacist and an anti-Semite. And while Democrats love the flood of illegal aliens into the U.S., what they really love is them invading Republican border states like Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico, which have historically been red states but are shifting purple and blue because of the huge numbers of illegal aliens arriving. So in 2022, Texas Governor Greg Abbott began busing thousands of illegal aliens into Chicago, New York City, and Washington, D.C. Since he didn't have the authority to deport them, he just relocated them to Democrat strongholds, which had previously declared themselves sanctuary cities to virtue signal that they're not racist. New York City Mayor Eric Adams immediately denounced the action, saying this:
"This issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City. We're getting 10,000 migrants a month. Now we're getting people from all over the globe have made their minds up that they're going to come through the southern part of the border and come into New York City."
That's more heated rhetoric than any Republican politician had ever said about the invasion. And if a Republican had said that, then they would have been labeled a Nazi white supremacist for the rest of their life. And then Eric Adams was later indicted on some trumped-up charges to make him shut up because, well, he was causing what the Democrats call election interference. Lori Lightfoot, Beetlejuice, the then mayor of Chicago, said that the city was completely tapped out and they had no more space after just a few busloads of migrants arrived from Texas. The mayor of Washington, D.C., another Democrat, declared a public emergency. Then Florida Governor Ron DeSantis one-upped Governor Abbott and flew 2 busloads of illegal aliens to Martha's Vineyard, the wealthy island community in Cape Cod off the coast of Massachusetts, where the Obamas bought a $12 million estate to retire, and all hell broke loose. The residents called the National Guard, and the illegal aliens were removed from the island within 48 hours. They couldn't handle the 50 migrants, local officials said, even though it was the end of summer and there were plenty of empty Airbnb rentals available for them to stay in, and all the rich Democrats who live there have an extra 3 or 4 bedrooms in their mansions. The point was clear. They didn't want illegal aliens in their community, not even a few dozen of them. Meanwhile, there were 5,000 a day, every day, pouring across the southern border into Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California at the time, overwhelming countless communities in the Southwest. an ongoing problem that has been allowed to continue for years. Democrats are liars and hypocrites. The moment they're given a taste of their own medicine or have to live by the policies they demand others accept, then they completely freak out and spin up excuses for why they want diversity for thee, but not for me. If you like my serious monologues like this, then you'll love reading my books. So order my latest, The War on Conservatives, in paperback from Amazon.com, or download the ebook from any of the major ebook stores, Kindle, iBooks, Nook, or Google Play. My books are a lot more in-depth and hardcore than my videos, which I have to tone down a little bit for obvious reasons. So if you want my complete uncensored analysis, along with nearly 1,000 footnotes sourcing all of the material, which makes not just a very informative read, even for those who keep up with the news, but also a valuable resource to give to others to help wake them up as well, then head on over to Amazon.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.